Good morning, friends, and happy Freestyle Friday to all of you. I am actually sitting in my car because I attempted to record this, like, around my neighborhood, and there's just too much going on out there right now. Construction, especially, like, right behind my house. I was in my backyard at one point, thought it would be nice out there, but they are literally building houses right behind me, and all you hear is, like, nail guns and people yelling and, whatever. So I'm in the car because it's nice and quiet and sealed in here. But with that said, let's move into the topic for today, and that's hotels. That's something I've been thinking about the last couple of weeks because, especially since I've been doing a lot of traveling that's not cruise related this summer and stuff, smaller trips and things, weekend getaways, that kind of thing, where I've, had to book a hotel room for a couple nights or whatever. And I've mentioned this on the channel before. I'm a Hilton Honors member, and so that's when I'm booking it for myself, that's usually what I book. But Carlos has a higher status with Marriott, so when he's booking it, it's usually Marriott and whatever. We like those two brands because they offer a lot of options, but somebody commented recently that those are both really kind of higher end brands, and I guess in the grand scheme of things, they are to an extent. There's obviously a range of like, what is it, like, Hampton is the lower end kind of on the Hilton spectrum, all the way up to like Conrad or Crockford or whatever on the higher end. So it is kind of a spectrum, but I will say that starting price for Hilton is gonna be over $100 a night. Usually about 120, 130 a night is what I, pay on the lower end. So that's not bargain pricing for most people. And one thing that's come up with cruising a couple times, especially at a ports like Port Canaveral, where the airport's not immediately by the cruise port, and you have to take like some sort of shuttle service over there, is that, like, the shuttle is sometimes included with your hotel. And so what I'm specifically getting at is GoPort Orlando that I've used a few times. I can book my hotel through them, and with that, I usually pay about the same amount as I would for the hotel booking it on my own, but that also includes their shuttle service. But I know Hilton's really strict about giving me points and credits and whatever when I book third party. So it's been something I've kind of debated back and forth, and I do check the pricing of, like, if I book it separately versus if I book it through GoPort or whatever, and it always comes out cheaper to do it through GoPort, except for on my next cruise, and there's a reason for that. And the reason is that it's only one way. Because I'm doing a repositioning cruise, I'll actually be going out of Port Canaveral, but ending up in Miami, and so I don't need the GoPort shuttle on the way back because I can just Uber from Miami's cruise port to the airport. So for this time, I'm able to book that shuttle service separately from my hotel, and it comes out to about the same as I would pay booking third party, but then I get the points and perks and all that stuff. And also because the shuttle will be coming from the airport, I'll be able to, get to the cruise ship earlier, which is also a big plus. So, yeah. So anyway, all of that is a long-winded way of saying that I've been thinking a lot about hotels lately. And, I remember back in the day when I didn't have quite the budget that I do now, I would stay at Motel 6 or Super 8 or, whatever the cheapest option was. And I find myself being a little bit higher-end oriented these days, just because I can afford it. But that's not always true, because when I went to Six Flags Over Texas, which is a vlog you guys haven't gotten yet, that'll be coming up soon, I actually stayed in a motel, but because it was cheap and it was right across the street, and, the Hiltons in the area were further away and a lot more expensive, so I felt like there was value in doing it that way. And it was just a place for me to rest my head at night, for a couple of nights. And it worked out really nicely. So motels and lower end hotels are definitely not beneath me, but it's also not my first choice. But what do you think? What do you usually book? Are you of the mindset that, cheaper is better and you'll book whatever the cheapest option is? Do you book based on location? You want to be as close as possible to where you're trying to get to? Do you book on the higher end because you like a luxury accommodations? Or maybe you book higher end because you don't travel all that often, so when you do, you want to make a big trip of it, a big thing of it? Let me know in the comments where you stand on hotels, or is this something you don't really think about until it's actually happening? Are you like me, where sometimes you stay lower end, sometimes you stay higher end? It really just depends on the situation. I'm curious, because this is something that has been pointed out to me before, is like, you usually stay in higher end hotels, and I'm like, I do? But anyway, those are my Freestyle Friday thoughts for today. I have one more week at home, and then I'll be back on a cruise ship for what will be the longest sailing I've ever been on. But more about that coming soon. And, yeah. I want to thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all those fun things. We'll talk soon, and y'all have a great weekend.